just you and me. Bonnie and Clyde, yeah, we're so young and so free. Now we're getting wild here.
So my boyfriend and I have been dating for 2 years, but we were on and off all the time. It was a super toxic relationship. Like, he would try to get with other girls and I would try to get with other guys to make him jealous, blah, blah, blah. Well, a week before Christmas, him and I broke up again. And I had my best friend sleep over that whole week because her parents were in Ireland. And my boyfriend lived right down the street from me. Like, it was probably a 2-minute walk to his house. Well, for the first 3 nights, my best friend would go on a jog every night, and she would be gone for like 2 hours. I would literally have to go unlock the door at 1 in the morning for her to get back in my house. Well, I think the 3rd night that she slept over, she came back in different clothes. And I realized that the sweatshirt she was wearing was my boyfriend's favorite sweatshirt. But I didn't really think anything of it because she never really showed interest in my boyfriend. But clearly I was oblivious. Anyways. So that same night, I wake up in the middle of the night and she's on the phone with someone. And it sounded exactly like my boyfriend. So I asked her who it was, but she couldn't give me an answer, like for part 2. Part 2 of how my boyfriend cheated on me with my best friend. So she told me not to worry about it, and I was like, alright, whatever. So the next day, my boyfriend shows up at my house asking to get back together. Not a surprise, by the way. And of course I said, okay, we can be back together, blah, blah, blah. So that night while I'm in my room, my best friend's on the phone, and she has her AirPods in, so I couldn't hear who it was. And she was like, okay, I'll be there in 5 minutes. And when I asked her where she was going, she wouldn't tell me. Well, she left her phone at my house. And because she usually tells me everything, I thought that something sus was going on. So I went through her phone. And I see that she's been texting this guy Jay a lot. And as I'm going through their conversation, there's one text that says, I don't care if she finds out. Just sneak over to my house while you're there. So I check the phone numbers and obviously it's my boyfriend. And her parents are really strict, like she was only supposed to be at my house that week, nowhere else. So I may have made up some stories that she had drugs in her bag and that she was forcing me to do drugs with her. So her parents came home early from their trip, they sent her to military school and I broke up with my boyfriend.
This is the time I had a racist Uber driver. So for my birthday this year, we decided to go to Cheesecake Factory and walk around the mall after we drank. It was me, my boyfriend, and his 2 friends, who are also my friends. Obviously, we couldn't drive there if we were drinking, so we called an Uber driver. The first Uber driver was nice. He was cool. Then the Uber driver that picked us up from the Cheesecake Factory, different story. Right off the bat, he looked like a clown. He pulls up in what looks like a white 1998 Honda Odyssey minivan. If you're curious, just look up what that looks like on Google Images. And he had all these stickers on it. Taxi stickers, obviously the Uber sticker, Lyft sticker, Trump stickers. And when we get in the minivan, he's wearing a legit top hat. Like when you see a chauffeur wear a top hat in the movies, and a striped white and black outfit. He had an Alexa plugged into his car, and he put post-it notes up that say, in quotes, say Alexa play. So then my friend was like, hey Alexa, play Pop Smoke. I'm sorry, I really needed to give you this backstory, but like for part 2. This is the time I had a racist Uber driver part 2. So we were all bumping to Pop Smoke, and we were all teed, so we decided to mess with him. We started asking him random questions, like, oh, how do you like driving as an Uber driver? Or what's your craziest experience with Uber? So we get to chit-chatting, and then my friend Mike decides to like pretend that he was a drug dealer and starts bragging that he bought a brand new 2020 Audi with his dealer money, which he didn't, and he's not a dealer. And the guy's like, yeah, I've definitely had my fair share of drug dealers. And we were like, how did you know? Like, what happened? And he was like, I've picked up my fair share of black people. And I was like, excuse me, sir, what? What did he say? But not for real, I was tight. I was like, excuse me, what? And I was like, so, like, what, how? And mind you, I was like teed. And when I'm teed, I kind of just say what's on my mind. And I was like, so you think every black person is a drug dealer? And he was like, pretty much. So when he goes to drop us off, I poured out my leftover fettuccine alfredo in his car and screamed he was a racist piece of shit.
So when I was a sophomore in high school, I had this teacher who would only let the students in her class use the restroom 1 time per semester. Well, one day I raised my hand and I was like, excuse me, I don't remember her name. Can I please use the restroom? And she was like, no, you can't because you've already used the restroom in my class this semester. Well, excuse me, you can't dictate my bladder. So I'm like all frustrated, and I started secretly texting my mom because I wasn't allowed to use my phone in class. And I was like, Mom, I'm sitting in class right now. My teacher won't let me use the restroom. And she was like, I'll take care of it for you. And I was like, okay. So like 5 minutes goes by, and all of a sudden my teacher's phone starts ringing, and she walks up to it and answers it, and she's like, "Hello? Yeah. Okay, thank you." And then she walks up to me like so angry, and she like slams the pass on my desk, and she was like, "Since you have to go that bad." And I was like, "Yeah, I really do, thanks." And I got up and left. I didn't even have to go to the bathroom. It was just the principle of it. I just roamed the halls.
This is why you should never leave your house unlocked. Part 1. When I was about 12 years old, I lived in Kansas. Both my parents were out and I was home alone with my 2 dogs. I was sitting in my bedroom playing on my computer when I heard the very distinct sound of the front door open and close, like someone had just come in. My dogs got up and ran into the living room, and so I just assumed my parents were home. I shouted for my mum to confirm this and heard no response. I paused my game and walked out into the living room to see, and as I did, I felt the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I had heard someone come in, clear as day, but no one was there. I wasn't wearing headphones and I'd had the computer volume turned down, so I knew it couldn't have been the game. I tried calling my parents, but neither of them picked up, so for the first time in my life, I called the police. This is why you should never leave your house unlocked. Part 2. I explained the situation to the 911 operator, and she told me that police were on their way. I stood there rooted to the spot, and not long after my parents got home. The police arrived shortly after, and told us that thieves usually wait until homeowners leave, check the door, and if it's unlocked, they go in and take valuables. They checked the house, but found no one. They said whoever it was probably left when they heard that someone was home. They told us to make sure that we lock the doors, but not to worry too much. Not long after it happened, I told the story to one of my friends, and he said, "You only heard the door once. That means they were most likely already in the house. You just heard them leave."
They won't let go.